Good morning. How you
Morning.
doing? It's Monday morning.
Yeah, Monday morning, another week.
Yeah, yes,
Nearly
yes.
week trips. It's bit of January, bit of February. Where are those 4 weeks gone? What have people achieved in 1/12 of the year?
It's funny you should say that because I was looking back to see when I first started doing these live things, and I think that goes back to mid-October. I think I did the first one. Me and you did one towards the end of October, I think. So we've been doing, I think it was 16 weeks this week. I think it's 16 weeks we're doing these live events. Wow.
There we go. There we
That's
go.
commitment for you, being
Well,
accountable.
it's 100%, 100%.
So I'm assuming you have been running because I've seen one or two of your runs.
Well, yeah, I have been running, not as much as I want to, but it's all coming back. It's all coming back, and
Good.
we're in the old mode of getting back more and more running, a bit more healthy Feb. It's going to be, I think.
Healthy Feb. That's good news.
So yeah. So
Well, I was out on a bike ride yesterday, and I was out in the garage on my bike today, 6:30 this morning for a quick spin.
sure, it's pretty good.
So it was only a light one because just needed to get something done today. So I got that out of the way. So what have you got a big week on or?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately not traveling around too much, although I say that Thursday's probably one end of the country to the other, so it's far from ideal, and I'm sure other few little curveballs will sneak into the equation. But last week was like a cyclone. It was just like
it's commitment for you though. It's commitment.
It is surprising when you on the diary it looks okay. Then when you actually physically put it into practice and you're flying around all over the place, and it was I wouldn't have changed a thing, and it was amazing to catch up with lots of people and network, and there's some different environments I got, different spaces I got into, which is unusual, isn't it? As far as it's the old thing, isn't it? It's just getting into different places where you probably wouldn't go, and meeting different people and having those conversations.
It's funny because we saw each other last week at a network meeting in Kent, which is a long way from where you are. And I think we were sort of briefly talking about it last night as well, about the fact that, the network meetings are great places for people to expand their horizons and their business and God knows what else. So.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously, you and I probably both tend to occupy the sort of property networking space, but I mean, there's such a overarching amount of network meetings you can go to, can't you? I mean, literally, I think I can't remember what the website's called, but there's one that you can. I think it's Meetup, isn't it, or something like that, where you can just, even if you're, into collecting ring pools, for example, there'd be like a ring pool networking collection or something like. I mean, it's like that. It's that diverse. So there's no excuse. Whatever you're into, you can basically share the same space with other people that got the same passion as you.
What's the website called? Meetup.
I think it's called Meetup. Yeah, I'm sure, where you can just type in a sort of like a thing you're interested in. So if you were like into, literally IT, computers, there'd be like a computer one, a photography one, and I'm sure it's called Meetup. So
I've just been on it, and this just says about people in property. I think so it must be an older one.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but there's just no excuse for people not to be going out and meeting other people, like-minded people, and obviously using that as it depends on as they say, if you want to get more customers, share the space where your customers are.
Yeah. Well, that's business to business, I think. Yeah, definitely. And I think a friend of mine was started up a coaching business, and she went off to some fairs and stuff like that, where she put herself a little stand and got business that way. Because I think that's a good sort of like a tip for people, especially on Accountability Mondays, is to think about how or where you get your business from. Because you've got to put yourself out there, and sometimes it can be quite daunting, can't it? You're in this space where you're trying to get business, and you're a new fledgling business or entrepreneur or go-getter and trying to get business in, where do you go? How do you do it? And I think I've always been good at it. I've always been one for, okay, well, if I do this, then I'll get clients in. And I think one of the accountability ones right at the beginning, I think I was suggesting to people, you've got to get good at get business in. It's all right putting all the systems in place and putting all the legalities in place, but if you can't get business in, doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to fill up your funnel with business. And you can have everything set up, but no customers. You've got to get good at getting customers. Simple as that. Attracting the right type of clientele or. So I'm assuming that most people are coming on here haven't got a retail business. They've got some sort of service industry or something of that nature or a specific business that's not like a high street shop. And so if you haven't got a shop to display your wares, what do you do? How do you go about that? So and you're quite good at, I know you stood up at that meeting last week and you're peddling your wells for your insurance, because you're very specific insurance products that you do and you specialize in. But you go to all these network meetings, and you've got more than one thing to grab onto, haven't you? You've got more than one string to your bow. So I think it's something that people need to get out there, get talking. I've always been chatty anyway, as people know. So I can go somewhere and chat for England, but have an objective in mind if you're going to go to a meeting or some sort of event where you could potentially get business and have a plan in place. But anyway,
I mean, it's quite interesting. You've really overlapped on a couple of things there. I just want to sort of call a few of those out, really, because I mean, 100%. I think you've got to have a plan when you go to these meetings. Otherwise, you're just going to get there and you're just going to drink a bit of coffee or water, filtered water, or whatever you're going to be in. And obviously, the last thing you want to be doing is just walking around introducing yourself, giving you, I've seen it done badly. So people come up and what do you do? They give you a business card and they just walk away. I mean, they're just like, networking is a skill. You've got to have in your mind is, who's your ideal client? What you go in there? How can you help people? And also how do you differentiate yourself from someone else in your space? You've got to amplify your differences. And then
it's funny you should say that. And it reminds me of a network meeting I went to many years ago, the Berkshire Property Meet, and I'd first turned up there the very first time. And I think Vanish Patel had just spoken. No, he was Vanish Patel. He'd just spoken. So he had lots of people around him afterwards. And I was very new in that space, in the education space. And I thought, this guy can probably give me what I want. He had a load of people around him. I walked up to him. I grabbed him by the arm. I said, I wonder if you just give me a card. I haven't got time to chat. So he's gone. And he carried on talking. He ignored me. So I grabbed his arm again. So I just want a card and then I'll be gone. I'll go off. And he's looking at the people around him. He said, just watch what this guy's doing. So he looked at me and he carried on talking. And I went, look, I just want a card. Really, I don't want to be rude about it. So he gave me a blank business card. So I looked at it and went, no, just can you write your number down on it? And the point he was trying to make to the people around him, he said, just watch how persistent this guy was to get my number. Because I kept asking him. I was prepared to sort of interrupt him while he was talking. And that's my point, really, is that you've got to grow a pair sometimes. You don't want to be outright rude, but sometimes you've got to have very clear objectives of what you want. I thought this guy could help me get where I want to go. I want his number. And then I can call him the following day, which I did. I called him the very next day. And I think that's something, well, that plan for me was I want to get in touch with people, want to get their numbers so I can schedule calls with them and find out how I can accelerate my business. And so I had a plan, and it wasn't necessarily a formulated plan, but I had a plan in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, obviously you're comfortable in that's, you're not doing anything you're uncomfortable there. So, I mean, a lot of people will have a major problem with that. I mean, a point in question.
And they need to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah. I mean, I know your answer. I could probably write on a piece of paper now, but I mean, I went to this private members club last week to some, you know, like it was like a open discussion with a couple of key speakers, and you know, in a nice, beautiful, oldie worldy setting, and 40 people packed in there. And I mean, I got invited with a couple of people I knew, and when you come to take your place to sit down, I was like in the middle of no one I knew. You know, so it was people, you know, there's no one I knew, no one within literally 20 foot that I knew. And I mean, people could be like, really, that would ruin their night. You know, they'd be like, oh my word, I'm really uncomfortable. I've got to, you know, talk to complete strangers. But to me, that's like the best result possible, isn't it? Because that's 5 or 6 people I'm going to engage, have conversations with that I am being forced to do. And you come away with a lot more information, sharing stories and knowledge. And whereas, you know, often people will sit with someone they know and they just carry on a conversation that they could have in the car, really. So I think
this is interesting, John. I don't know if you know, but I am very shy.
Yeah, but you'd be comfortable. You'd be comfortable with that, though, wouldn't you?
But I said, no, by nature, by my default setting is I'm very shy. I'm very insular. But I've taught myself to push myself out there and radiate myself, because I wouldn't get where I wanted to go if I wasn't. So I was forced into it in a way, because I was honestly I was so insular when I was a child, and I still find it uncomfortable in a crowded room with people I don't know. But once you break the ice, then you're away, and it's training yourself to do that. And a great way to do this is what I used to do many years ago, and this is all about conditioning. I used to, when I first got a dog back in 2000, I was where I used to live in my old house. There was a loop I used to do, and I made it my business to say hello to every single person that I came across. Morning, smiled at them, morning. And it was a habit that I still do today. I still go past someone, say good morning. I don't necessarily stop for a chat, but what it does is it conditions you into not feeling uncomfortable saying something like that, or introducing yourself, or you know, making the first move, so to speak.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I mean, there's no excuse nowadays, is there? I mean, you can, you know, I mean, the great thing about it, you can practice this skill every moment of your life, of your day, effectively, because you're walking in to buy something at a shop, and you know, 99% of companies now insist on their employees having name badges, so you can say to someone, "Morning, Wendy, how's your day going?" You know, I mean, you can practice, can't you? And you can just hone these skills, and you'll find that people have lovely conversations. Not only that, it'll make her day, because she'll probably have another 30, 40 people that won't give her one, because they won't talk to her or him. And she's like, oh, that's lovely. You know, and also I love it. If you smile, you don't even have to say anything to someone, do you? Smile at them. Immediately they smile back. It's just, you know, so
but it's also trying to flip it, because I remember meeting Simon Zucchi for the very first time in 2010. I'd never done a network meeting. I'd never done any talks. I'd never done anything at all in that space. I met him and someone introduced me to him, and I thought, who the fuck's this geezer? You know, I've never heard of him. And they go, I run all these network meetings across the country. So my brain is ticking, thinking, he's got all these network meetings. I want to do some public speaking. He's got the platform I can jump onto. So I said to him, so what do I need to do to come and talk at one of your meetings? So he's asked me, well, you know, you can come along you might learn something at one of these meetings. And I'm thinking, oh, really? So I was very dismissive of him. And then I realized that he had these meetings that I wanted to talk at. And then when he asked me a few questions, he realized my experience, and then went, yeah, I'd like you to talk at one of my meetings in about 3 months' time, which he wanted me to talk to his graduate program. And then I took his number, and this was on the Sunday. It was an event on the Sunday. And on the Tuesday, I'd already scheduled it in my head. I would ring that guy on Tuesday, give him Monday, but ring him Tuesday. So I wouldn't be too keen on the Monday, but I rang him on the Tuesday. And he said, right, okay, we'll put it in the diary for so-and-so. Great, that's sorted. And then he rung me on the Wednesday and said to me, what are you doing Thursday? Well, tomorrow night. This was the 11th of March, 2020. Very first talk I ever did. And he said, someone's cancelled our networking speaking event. Can you fill in? And I went, I've got nothing prepared. He went, listen, you could talk for England, just turn up. And I had a piece of paper with some addresses on it. And I did my first talk at a network meeting in front of 100 people. Never done it before, but the determination was there. I knew what I wanted. And trust me, John, it was a little bit daunting to say the least, because I've never done a public speaking event before in my life. I knew I wanted to do it, and I thought, well, this is a great way to practice, and that's what I did. And within a very short space of time, I was talking at every single network meeting I could find. I was contacting people, but I went out there and found it and done it and pushed. And this is really coming down to what we're talking about, accountability. Things every Monday is you sometimes need to hold yourself accountable and say, well, get out there and do it. Do something. Go out and do something. Just you don't know where it's going to lead. I didn't know that event that I was on the 7th of March, that was when I first met him. If I hadn't have been at that meeting, I wouldn't have never gone into that space. So you never know who you're going to meet. You never know you're sitting next to a network meeting. You do not know. I mean, people have sat next to me, didn't even know they were talking to me. And then all of a sudden, it's you. So, so I think it's really important that you get out there and mingle.
Oh, 100%. And I think, it's like a run, isn't it? Sometimes you force yourself out the door for a run or do some exercise, and you're not, your mind's like persuading you that that's not a good idea, but you go and you just feel 10 times better. I've certainly thought, I don't want to go to networking tonight. And it's the easy option, exactly like, a run or something. You can just postpone it, but you force yourself to go to this meeting. And you just get, a really good contact, or you just get a little bit of information from that meeting. You think, bloody hell, I can use that in my business. So I think, there's no excuse for all the people that are listening to this that, just pick a meeting close to you. Whether if you're in business, you've got your things like your BNI, 4N. I think, the coffee meetings. I mean, there's morning meetings, afternoon meetings, evening meetings. There's no excuse when you've got a slot to go out. Same for the property side of things. There's meetings at all different times, and just say, right, I'm going to book in the next week. I'm going to book a meeting to go to, and I'm going to just see what comes of that meeting. And like you say, just get and think about, why am I going there? What's my sort of avatar? What's my ideal client? And it's like, how can I help the person you're talking to, and have some, you Google a couple of questions if you're nervous, some ice break questions. I mean, what would you say to someone when you're walking up to them for the first time? There you go, on the spot.
My name's Paul. What's your name? Simple as that.
Yeah, there you go. Really hard.
They'll tell me their name, and then I'd have a conversation and say, so what do you do? And that was how I'd break it. I remember that first network meeting. I remember talking to a guy called Bob. His name was Bob. He had a badge on, and I said to him, the first person I'd come across, "Hi, Bob. How are you?" He's gone, "I'm okay." I said, "Are you a property investor?" He went, "Yes." I said, "Have you got many?" He went, "Yes." And that was it. I was asking him closed loop questions, and he taught me a lesson. And I thought to myself, if I can crack that guy, then I've got this group. And he was the first person up to me afterwards. But you mentioned earlier, icebreakers are great. But you mentioned earlier you wanted to pull apart a couple of things that I mentioned right at the beginning. Do you remember?
Yeah.
What were they?
Well, I mean, obviously I think it's having your objective.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like you've alluded to, it's just, how, I mean, I just think that there's, what do you call them? There, roadblocks is probably a word, isn't it? It's sort of in the language, but there's things that would be stopping people doing this, and I think it's what tips you can give people, that are gonna, because people often think, sorry, I'm not going to go and bloody book a meeting because I'm not comfortable in going to talk to people. So it's like,
you should, again, this is it all feeds into this, right? I had this idea because I've got a YouTube channel, Paul Ribbons. So if you pop along there and subscribe for me. But I got this YouTube channel, and I decided that I wanted to do 100 life lessons. And every day for 100 days, I do a video and upload it, and I do a short for 100 life lessons. I've already done 7 so far for the first week. I started them last Monday. And I have not got a clue whether people are like them or they won't like them. And this is where you talk about roadblocks. People have a fear of what people are going to think. I don't mind what people think. I really don't mind. If they don't like it, they don't like it. If they like it, they like it. And the idea is just to get myself out there to see what comes back, because then I can build from there. But that's the biggest issue I see people is they're too embarrassed, or they're too afraid of getting rejected, or what if people don't talk to me, or if they ask me awkward questions. I don't know what goes through their heads, but that fear of feeling embarrassed is a big problem for people. And I remember thinking when I was doing my first talk in front of 100 people, that if I paused, they wouldn't know whether it was a cock up or if it wasn't. They would just, it could be part of the act. And their biggest fear is that people are concerned that they're going to make a mistake and they're going to feel embarrassed. So I think that's one of the roadblocks. But go on.
Well, yeah, I think it's just people being frozen, isn't it, and paralyzed not to take action. So I think people need to reach out. I mean, you got to write a list down of 3 or 4 things that's stopping you getting to the where you need to be. And if that's one of the things, you need to solve it. I mean, obviously people can reach out to you, but I mean, I just think there's no excuse nowadays. I mean, I'm a great believer in there's just so much opportunity out there. I had a bit of a spat years ago when, I think it was when I know you don't like the word Brexit, but I'll say it anyway, when that argument was going on and all these youngsters was like, I'm losing the opportunity to do this. I'm losing the opportunity to do that. And then it turned into, there's no opportunities in the UK for young people to get jobs and stuff like that. And it's like, when you dig deeper, it's like, have you printed your CV off? Have you walked that CV round industrial estates and business parks and put it through people's doors? And when you simmer it down, they haven't done anything. And I said, I'll help you, come into my office and we'll move that forward. But I think, I think you said to me years ago, it's like internet connection, laptop, and the right attitude, you're in business.
Yeah, anyone can start a business. Anyone. Yeah. It's as easy as that. You could literally do affiliate links on Amazon. There's loads of things you could do. You sell shit on eBay. You look at the content creation on YouTube today, or TikTok, or Instagram. I mean, there are numerous ways of just starting a business with very little skills. So you've got something to say, or you've got something to sell. It's a massive marketplace, huge. The marketplace is huge. You just got to get in front of people. That's the most important thing, is understanding how you can get in front of someone, or what you can do to, if you've got an affiliate company for Amazon's, for example, you just do blogs about the things that you want to sell and the links that you've got. And it's not hard. Honestly, it's not hard. It's very simple. And the great thing is, you can get the information out there just by going online and tapping in, saying, how do I do a business online, and blah, blah, blah. And there's someone out there teaching it.
Yeah, no percent. And also ask, a lot of people are, there's a lot of people on social media and stuff like that. A lot of people are, they have a social media account, but they're not active on it. They just use it for like watching the world, don't they? And, eyeballs on the world. But, pop it into social media, who's that? And you'll be surprised what the world throws back at you. People know about. So, but I think in that vein, I think, and obviously the people listening here, we're looking to change the format of this, possibly the time as well. So we're really, really keen on people's feedbacks, of like a where we can, try and help people become accountable more. And, if anybody wants, to be a little guinea pig, or, if they've got a little roadblock that they just want solving, drop all of myself a message. We can set you a few little tasks over the next four weeks. Also, people have got some comments on, like a Monday night, 7 o'clock, does that work? Or a Sunday evening, 6:30, 7 o'clock. But it's just trying to find where we can just add some content to this in this like really sort of condensed half an hour thing that's going to give people tasks to do sort of every week, and just hold the fire to their feet, really. Because I just think if I don't know about you, I just think there's an overload of information out there at the moment. But people,
it's sifting through it, and it's funny because building a YouTube channel myself, I'm going through them growing pains and looking and trying to work out because there is a lot of information and misinformation, because anyone could turn up and say, well, actually, I'm going to talk about this, and they might not have the knowledge or the know-how. They think they have and they haven't. So you look at people. So if you're going to do some research on the online or get some information regarding some techniques or tips, or make sure the person that you're following has done it. They've got to have done it, because if they haven't done it, then who are they? It's just somebody saying, well, I think you should do this and I think you should do that. They've got to have credibility and have some sort of record to say, yes, I've done it, and I do remember many years ago, my stepmother saying to me, you should do this, you should. And I'm looking at her thinking, well, what have you done with your life?
Yeah.
If you can't give me information if I don't understand, you haven't done it yourself. If you haven't cut your teeth in that industry, or if you haven't done it, why should I listen to you? And I've always been that way. I don't listen to, I see it a lot on social media, people spouting their mouths off and saying, I think this, I think that. Well, actually, show me the evidence. No. Okay. I'm not going to take any notice of you unless you've got some sort of credibility.
Yeah, no, I think so. So, I mean, it'd be really, really handy to have some comments back of what works for people, so that, at the end of the day, we can help people get this roadblock effectively knocked out of their life.
Yeah. I think it might be an idea if we stick a poll up. I think we can do a poll. And so which is the best day? I think we spoke about it last night. Sunday evenings might be a good time, because you've got that sort of, as you called it, the what did you call it? I can't remember.
The godly hour that used to be called.
Godly hour, the godly hour.
Songs of praise on and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're showing your age there. So I think Sunday evening might be one. We're thinking of doing John's thinking of doing a property one. I might join in for that. But we're thinking of doing a property, maybe, I don't know, once a week, once a month. I'm not sure. So give us your feedback on that as well, because I want to try and keep this more about entrepreneurs, small business owners and go-getters, as opposed to property investors per se. So I think we could do a separate one for property. So anyway, anything else we need to touch on before we go any further?
Well, I'm going to have a cheeky plug. Talking about property, I'm going to cheeky plug for the event we're doing on the 9th of March. Bull Hotel Gerrards Cross. Find it, flip it.co.uk is the website. Hook yourself over to that. I will. It's not just for property traders. I just want to get that out there. I mean, I've known Paul for a long time, and some of the feedback that I've heard from people that have gone through Paul's intense training, actually said, and they were people that were building portfolios, and they said what really they got massively add value from is the way Paul buys deals. So, obviously Paul's strategy, for those that don't know, is he'll pick a property up. 85% of purchases are with estate agents, and then he'll pop them into the auction and make a profit. But people that are building portfolios looking to acquire stuff, people were saying, I'm never going to buy a property in the same way again. It was just gold, and some of the language, the information, and how to make estate agents your best friend. And I think that's something I just want to get out there. It's, it's obviously geared as a traders event, but I think there's a lot of value in there for people that just want to buy property. And I mean, obviously Paul's been around the block quite a while, and a lot of traders used to buy 3 properties, sell 2, keep 1. So, that's sort of, just in an essence can say what it's there for. But love to see you on that.
Stick the link in the comment section and below on Facebook, and then
I will do.
I'll probably try and do that on the on YouTube as well, because it's gone live on YouTube. So so it's Find It, Flip It. That's what date is it? 9th of March.
Yeah, 9th of March, Saturday, 9th of March. Bull Hotel Gerrards Cross, and you'll come away with lots of information to use in this. Well, I think we're going to have some great years in property. So definitely now's the time to learn how to deal with estate agents, because they are going to hold the keys again.
They
It's all
are.
very well talking to them now, when it's almost like the Carlsberg complaints office, isn't it, where the phone don't ring. An estate agents go to open an envelope now, won't they? But roll it forward in 9 months' time, 12 months' time, when they've got a lot of people wanting to have their attention. You've got to be able to talk to them then, get their attention then. And Paul's been doing it through boom and bust. So what he's doing, it works.
Yep. And it's funny because I was only talking to someone recently, and I said, look, work with me, you'll never buy a deal the same way again, ever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you're a trader, whether you're an investor, whether you're a developer. It doesn't matter. It's a case of controlling. And it's funny. I was trying to explain this recently. Negotiation, and they think it's about the price, and it's not. It's about control. It's about getting control, because if you've got lots of competition, how do you negotiate a lower price, or do you have to negotiate a higher price? If there's lots of competition, I know I can resell it. I want to get control of that very, very quickly, and that's what negotiation's about. It's positioning and taking control. But anyway, so thanks for the plug there, John. That's on the 9th of March. We'll put the link in the description below, or the comment section below. And give us a thumbs up on this and like it if you've watched this, and we'll see you next week.
Catch you later. All take care.
Bye.
Bye.